want to hear it?
Okay.
What is a tree's least favorite month? September!
That's very true. Yeah, it probably wouldn't like September.
Do you know what the tree wore to the pool party?
No.
Swimming trunks.
Well, so I was thinking when you get done with your tree jokes that maybe we could work on the Friend of Nature Award.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, I think it would be really fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're going to talk a lot about what we need to do, and then I think when we get all done, then we'll do all those things, because this is one where we're going to spend a lot of time outside.
Ooh, I like outside.
Yeah. So the first thing that we need to do is they want us to go on a nature walk and to find interesting things that you might think are interesting outside on a walk.
Oh, like grass and pine needles and pine cones.
Yeah, and leaves and
sticks and
rocks. Anything that you can find that you might, maybe acorns.
Oh.
Anything that you can find that might be interesting.
Yeah.
They want you to collect those things.
Okay.
And then we can talk about what we found.
All right.
And then we're going to use them to make a collage.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Now, do you know what a collage is?
Nope, but it sounds fun.
Well, a collage is where you take any kind of item that you have, a bunch of. So maybe it's string or it's paper or whatever.
Okay.
In this case, it's going to be things that you found outside.
Natural stuff.
Yeah, and then you're going to take those and you're going to make a picture with it.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so you're going to take all of the things that you find and we're going to glue them down on a piece of paper and make some kind of cool picture or poster.
Okay.
Doesn't that sound cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can make it however you want. I've seen some really cool collages with nature stuff that are like animals or
like they're gluing animals to the paper?
No. Do not glue animals to the paper.
I got scared.
But they might be like leaves and sticks, and they use them to make things that look like animals.
Oh,
so,
that sounds like fun.
A leaf owl or a leaf stick man. Or
I can't wait. I'm going to do that.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah.
I think that could be really fun. So however you want to make your collage, you're more than welcome to do it that way. So you're going to go on a walk and you're going to collect all sorts of kind of fun things, and then we're going to put them all together and see what kind of art thing we can come up with.
That sounds like fun.
Now, while you're out on your nature walk, we need to find 3 different kinds of trees and do bark rubbings on them. So do you know how to do a bark rubbing?
Ooh. Miss Becky, do you know how to properly identify a dogwood tree?
No.
By its bark.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know how to do a bark rubbing?
Nope.
So what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper and put it up against the tree bark. And then take a crayon, the side of a crayon, and then you're going to use the side of the crayon and lightly...
With the paper on or off?
With the paper on. So over the paper, here's the tree, put the paper on the tree, and then you're going to use the crayon to go lightly over the paper so that the crayon, when you get all done, it will show you the different textures of the bark.
Oh, that's cool.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah.
So you have to do that on 3 different trees.
Okay.
Now, I want to show you some different trees, okay?
Okay.
So, this one here, this is an eastern oak.
Oh, look at that.
And you can see I've got what the tree looks like, and then what the bark looks like, and what the leaf looks like.
I recognize the leaves.
Yeah. So when people...
they have acorns.
Yeah, when people are going around and looking at trees, these are the 3 things people look for. They look at what the tree looks like, they look at the bark of the tree, and they look at the leaf of the tree. And by those 3 things, they can tell what kind of tree it is.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that cool? So
yeah.
How would you describe this bark?
Rough.
It looks really,
Maybe
really
a little
rough.
scratchy.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to rub your face up against that.
No, I don't think so.
And then what does the leaf look like?
It's kind of long, but it has points to it.
Yeah, they're rounded.
Yeah.
So it's kind of jagged edged, but rounded. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then the tree is a pretty tall, bushy tree.
Yes. I think it's very pretty, though.
It is a really pretty tree.
Oaks.
Okay, I'm going to show you a different one. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. This is an American beech tree.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at this one, this tree looks really different.
It's very smooth.
Yeah, so this bark is a really smooth bark. This would be one that maybe you could put your face up against and not find slivers in your face later.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Yeah. And look at the leaf on this one.
I bet the bark rubbing wouldn't be as fun, though.
It would be really different on this tree. So it would be a really cool tree to compare if you did a bark rubbing on one and then on the other, and you could really see the difference in the bark.
And the leaves are a little different too.
The leaves are really different. Yeah, these leaves are almost kind of teardrop shaped, aren't they?
Yes.
Instead of the other ones that
it's not as jagged or ridgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the tree itself? This tree is a shorter tree.
Yes, it looks shorter.
And maybe even a little bushier.
Yes. Yeah, I see that.
All right, you ready? I'm going to show you another tree.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
What's next?
This is a sugar maple.
This is my favorite tree. You know why?
Why?
Because we like to make maple syrup in the springtime, and then I get to use the maple syrup on my pancakes all year round.
This is a great tree for that. We tap trees too. Not very many, but we do. So look at the bark on this tree.
It's rough again.
It's rough.
But not as rough as the oak tree.
Not nearly as rough as the oak tree.
Yeah.
And does the leaf look different on this tree?
Very different. It's kind of jagged, but it's not as long. Like the oak tree is longer, and the maple tree kind of looks like the palm of my hand.
Yeah, you're right. It sure does. And it has 5 points on it, like your hand.
Oh, it is like my hand.
Yeah. So all these trees, they look really different. And if we just take a few minutes to really look at them, we can learn some really interesting things, and we can tell the different kinds of trees that we might be near.
Hey, Miss Becky?
Yeah?
Do you know what kind of tree fits in your hand?
What kind of tree?
A palm tree.
A palm tree.
Is that one in here?
Palm tree is not, no, because palm trees aren't native to northern New England where we are. And I was trying to look at trees that we might be able to see outside.
I haven't seen palm trees around here lately.
No palm trees here. But if you live in California, there are palm trees.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, ready for the next tree?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the next
How
one?
about this one? This one's really common around here.
Oh, look
This
at I
one-
see the pine needles.
Yeah, this one's a white pine. So look
They get very tall.
They get really, really tall. And the taller they get, those low branches tend to fall off.
Whoa.
So that's a little different than some other trees.
I've noticed our turkeys like to roost in the top branches of those trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the leaf is really different on this, right?
Is that even a leaf?
Well,
It looks like a needle.
it is a needle. Yeah, it's the leaf is a needle. So it's completely different. These trees don't lose their leaves in the winter.
Is that why it's called an evergreen?
Yeah, that's why it's called an evergreen.
Whoa.
And then look at the bark on this tree.
Yeah, that's rough again.
It's really, really rough. It looks maybe a little closer to the oak, but it's different. The pattern on the tree is different.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, it's very different. Ooh, what's next?
So we kind of talked about leaves when we talked about trees, but one of the things that you need to do is you need to collect 4 different kinds of leaves and compare them. Okay. So good news, we did the tree rubbing.
Yeah.
And while you're doing the tree rubbing, you can maybe find a leaf from that tree.
I bet I can. Yeah.
And then I've got this printout here, and you can go through and you can write down all the information about the leaves that you have. So you can decide, is the leaf small or large? You can draw a picture of your leaf. You can say what color it is. And
Wait, does that say purple leaf?
It does say purple. I think purple leaves show up in the fall sometimes. They're kind of a dark red.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
I don't think we
cool.
have any of those around here right now.
Not right now.
Nope.
But there are some leaves that are very, very dark red, almost purple.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like those. They're very pretty.
So you can use this sheet to help you tell the difference between the different kinds of leaves.
Okay, I can't wait.
All right. So we talked about a couple of things you need to do on your nature hunt. One of them is to look at different kinds of trees.
Okay.
Right? And to find interesting things. And the next thing that you need to do while you're out wandering around is to look for interesting bugs.
Ooh, bugs?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, bugs. So you can look and find bugs while you're walking around, or you can kind of map out a 10-foot area and look and see what kind of bugs you can find.
I found that bugs like to live in under fallen logs or in fallen trees.
You're right, they do. Because it's nice and it's dark and it's moist in there, and that's kind of where bugs like to live. So that would be a good place to look, is underneath a fallen tree.
Okay.
And see what kind of bugs you can find there.
That would be fun. And I get to draw them?
Yeah, you can draw them,
I can draw them.
and you can write different things about them. So
I bet Louie's really going to like that one. He likes bugs.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. Mm-hmm.
All
Louie,
right.
are you going to go look for bugs? Yeah, he can't wait.
All right. So you can find this printout in the classroom too.
Okay.
And you can write down all the different kinds of bugs that you find. Or you can walk around your backyard or a park and use the paper to find bugs there.
Okay.
That
Let's
sounds
do
like
it.
a good plan?
Yes.
Okay.
What's next?
So there's this big nature walk that we're going to go on. And then the other thing that we want to do is we want to visit a zoo or a park or some kind of wildlife area.
That might be a problem.
It might be a little tough to get to.
Maybe a park. We can maybe go to a park.
I think we could go to a park. A zoo might be a little tough, but we could do a virtual zoo tour, or you could go to a park, or there are even some wildlife areas that you might be able to go to depending on where you're at.
Okay. That sounds like fun.
So I think, just to be safe, we have a really cool video of a virtual zoo.
Ooh,
So
really?
Yeah, so we'll put that on
That'll be fun.
just in case you
love
can't
zoos.
get to a park or a wildlife area.
Okay.
And you can watch that. Or if you can go to a park or wildlife area, you can go there.
Okay.
All
Sounds
right.
like fun.
Hi everyone, my name's Amy. Come and join me on a special virtual tour of Melbourne Zoo.
Thanks Amy, it's Gus here. I'll be your virtual tour guide as we explore Melbourne Zoo together. First stop is the Guerrilla Rainforest Trail. Here you'll find ring-tailed lemurs. These Madagascar natives lord over the zoo's Lemur Island, an exhibit that zoo visitors can walk through and get nice and close to these striking primates. Around the corner, you might smell the next animals before you see them. The western lowland gorilla family that lives at Melbourne Zoo includes Kimya, baby Kanzi, Yushka, and big silverback Atana. We might see if we can get a better view of them at the next viewing spot. Animals like Kanzi are not only ridiculously cute, but also represent hope for this critically endangered species that is sadly losing more and more of its wild habitat every year. Did you know you can help Kanzi's wild cousins by simply recycling your mobile phone? Head to our website for more info. Can you hear that tall bamboo swooshing as we walk past it? It's amazing how tall bamboo grows. Ah yes, here's Felix, the pygmy hippo, enjoying some sunshine. Pygmy hippos are pretty elusive animals and prefer the solitary life, which is why Felix is happy hanging out on his own. He weighs roughly 275 kilograms, a lot less than the 1800 kilograms the hippos you often see in books and movies weigh. Can you spy Zilly, the cassowary, in here? Everything from her blue neck, red wattle, and hard casque on her head make her one of the most striking animals in Australia. Let's go and see the treetop apes and monkeys now. Tiny cotton-top tamarins are one of my zoo favourites. Their rock star haircut stands on end when they get excited. Pretty cool, huh? Sometimes it feels like their neighbours, the black-handed spider monkeys, have an extra arm. These incredible climbers use their long tails to grab hold of things and swing from branch to branch. The first thing you'll notice when you see a black and white colobus is their impressive tail, which is about the same length as the rest of their head and body put together. Here's Lilian and Jin, the white-cheeked gibbons. One of the most beautiful sounds in the entire animal kingdom is a pair of gibbons singing their duets. Did you know their long, strong arms help them to move around the rainforest with incredible speed? Let's head back around to the gorillas and see what they're up to on the other side. Welcome to Trail of the Elephants. Don't be deceived by the name, there's much more than elephants along here. First stop is the raft of Asian small-clawed otter pups. Looks like first-time parents Odie and Paula have been giving their pups some swimming lessons. Good luck, little ones. I think we all know what animal is coming up next. There are 3 Sumatran tigers living at Melbourne Zoo. As solitary animals, they live by themselves. Hutan and Binjai live on this trail, swapping exhibits every few hours to make sure they have new areas to sniff and explore. Sadly, there are estimated to be fewer than 400 Sumatran tigers remaining in the wild, making these animals even more precious. Let's wander up here and see what's further along the trail. Melbourne Zoo's beautiful and iconic butterfly house. It's always nice and warm in here. I could get lost in here, so we better keep moving. Here we go, Melbourne Zoo's spectacular herd of Asian elephants. Ear flapping is a sign of a happy pachyderm. Unlike African elephants, only the male Asian elephants have tusks. And while many people know that ivory poaching is threatening elephants in the wild, habitat loss and humans encroaching on elephant habitat is one of the biggest problems that these big friends are facing in the wild. Unsustainable palm oil plantations that are springing up across Southeast Asia are a massive problem for elephants, but you can help them by asking our politicians to make palm oil labelling mandatory in Australia. Likewise, the orangutans are facing an uncertain future due to unsustainable practices in the palm oil industry. Like us, orangutans are great apes, and we actually share about 97% of our DNA, which is really cool. Okay, let's head out into the sunshine and see who else we can visit. Clinton and Nakuru, the giraffes. The tallest mammals on Earth spend a lot of their day stretching those long necks up and stripping leaves off trees with their long blue tongues. Alright, let's go and see some Aussie animals. Now, we're a little biased, but we think Victoria's koalas are cuter than the ones found up north. How can you resist Baby Waru's fluffy ears, thick fur, and button nose? Good morning, wombats. Nice of you to join us. Hello, kangaroos. And you too, storks. Quick reminder from that wombat sign to do the right thing by the animals and choose recycled toilet paper. What do we think? black with white stripes or white with black stripes. These extraordinary stripes are unique to every single zebra in the world, which, when you think about how many zebras there are, is pretty mind-boggling. Oops, watch out for the buggy. Here we go. These baboons are always busy and up to something. Baboons live in hierarchical troops, with the big boss baboon having the biggest and pinkest bum, and also big hair. Everything about him is actually pretty big. Let's scoot around here and visit Samanka the Malaysian tapir. She's a pretty shy animal, preferring to keep to herself, but with her incredible nose and amazing black and white markings, we think she might secretly be a few people's favourite animal. Any tapir fans out there? The collared peccaries are just next door to Samanka. If you look really closely, you'll notice the hair on their neck is lighter than the rest of their body, hence why they're called collared peccaries. Here we go, the carnivores that live at Lion Gorge. A lot of people walk past these dogs and ask if they're hyenas. These animals couldn't be further from hyenas if they tried. African wild dogs are ferocious hunters, working as a pack to track and kill the animals they hunt. But unlike most other hunting animals, they care for their sick, injured, young and elderly. I like that these carnivores have a soft side too. Hello boys, Ndidi and Zubiri the lions are keeping a watchful eye over their kingdom. Did you know that lions are the only big cat that isn't solitary? This means they're the only ones that actually like the company of others. Cool, huh? Everyone loves the busy coatis at Melbourne Zoo. Always climbing, sniffing, digging and exploring. These animals are never slacking off. Speaking of never slacking off, new mum Miska has her paws full raising 3 snow leopard cubs at the moment. As they would in the wild, the trio will live with mum for about 18 to 24 months and learn everything there is to know about being a snow leopard from her. Poaching and habitat loss are threatening snow leopards in the wild. It's hard to believe that anyone would want to do anything that would harm these balls of fluff. As we zip through Cat Alley, please remember to keep your cats safe at home rather than roaming the streets. This is for both their sake and the sake of wild animals that live near your house. And here we have Kangju, the father of Miska's 3 cubs. As I mentioned earlier, like most big cats, snow leopards are solitary, so Kangju doesn't play a role in raising his offspring. But judging by that strut, we'd say he's not too fazed about missing out on the joys of parenting. I spy Indra stalking us in the bushes. As with her relatives at Trail of the Elephants, Indra also prefers to live by herself, where she can lord over her territory and ambush any predators that come her way. Everyone should have heard of these guys before. Tasmanian Devils are the largest carnivorous marsupials in the world. This means they're the biggest meat-eating mammal that carries its young in a pouch on Earth. Sadly, these guys are facing a really uncertain future, with road accidents and a contagious cancer called devil facial tumour disease threatening them in the wild. But we're working hard to change their fate. Okay, let's see what else we can find up the main drive. Hello Wilbur and Little John. The Aldabra giant tortoises are the oldest species living at our zoos, and while we're not 100% sure how old our ones are, they can live to be over 120 years, so these guys have plenty of life left in them still. It looks like the keepers have put some capsicum out for them to enjoy too. Let's go check out what's in the reptile house today. Between taipans and rattlesnakes, there's a lot of animals in here that could kill you with one swift bite. Being a reptile zookeeper is definitely not a job for the faint-hearted. Did you know that when the Europeans first sent a platypus specimen back to England to be studied, the scientists thought it was a hoax? They assumed someone had stitched a beaver and a duck together to play a trick on someone. We're quite proud of how cool and unique Australia's animals are. Next up, we've got the animals of wild sea. There's the pelicans and the rays, and of course, the majestic seals swimming around. Have you heard about our Marine Response Unit, which rescues wild seals that have run into trouble? If not, we recommend you Google it. That team does some amazing work. And that also includes looking after the little penguins that call Victoria home. Those coloured bands on their wings are there to help keepers identify who is who. Meanwhile, we have no trouble telling the Fiordland penguins apart. Ed and Kim were both rescued by the Marine Response Unit and now live a happy life alongside the little penguins. Look up high and you might spot red pandas Seba and Rashani. Can you spot something over there, across the lake in the Japanese garden? It's the Simang family. There goes baby Kamala swinging from ropes and stealing mum's food. There's one more animal we need to go and see. Can you guess what it is? It's the meerkats. These tiny but busy carnivores are always on the lookout for predators and threats. The meerkat on duty is called the sentry. It's his or her job to keep a lookout while the others dig for food. There's nothing better than a bit of teamwork when you're a meerkat. It looks like the keepers have been creative and popped some treats in the bottom of this bucket of leaves. This is called enrichment, and it encourages the meerkats to practice their natural foraging behaviours. Thanks for joining me for this virtual tour of Melbourne Zoo. We hope you enjoyed it.
Now, here's the next thing that I want you to do.
Okay.
Okay? One of the things that we're talking about is being a friend of nature, right?
Yes.
So kind of paying attention to what's in nature and observing nature and those kind of things. But what I want you to do is I want you to write a thank you note to whoever takes you to the park or the wildlife area, because being thankful is an important part of being a friend of nature.
Oh, cool.
So
it's probably going to be my mom and my dad.
It probably is, in this case, going to be your mom or your dad.
They'll probably like a thank you note.
Your parents would like a thank you note. I'm sure that they would. And you could say, thanks for taking me, in a little note. And you maybe even could use some of that bark rubbing that you did.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh,
you could draw pictures of leaves.
They're going to love it.
Or you could use some of the things from your
Can I do a leaf rubbing?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You could do any of those things to make your thank you note.
That seems neat.
I think that would be a lot of fun. So I want to talk a little bit about how we are a good friend to nature.
Okay.
Does that make sense? That seems like a good idea.
Yes.
So when you're visiting a nature space, we want to make sure that we leave that space unharmed or even in a better state than we found it.
Yes, that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. So we want to use reusable water bottles, and we want to make sure that we don't leave trash around, right?
Yes, do not litter.
So no littering, pick up any litter that you might find if somebody else wasn't being a very good friend of nature. Picking up litter that you might find and taking it out with you.
Sure.
Staying on trails, right?
Oh,
Instead of
yeah.
wandering through the woods or those kind of things. That's important because sometimes when you get off the trail, not only might you get lost, but you might really affect the ecosystem of where you're at.
Sure. Yeah, you don't want to break plants and things.
Right, you've
there
got
are
it.
sometimes some flowers that are rare, and it would be bad if we stepped on those.
That would be really bad. Yeah. And then we want to be respectful of wildlife. So, well, if, say, for example, you found a skunk, we wouldn't
In the woods?
In the woods. We wouldn't want to look at that up close.
No, so don't go pet the skunk.
Don't go pet skunks.
No.
Or
Bad idea.
Or
porcupines.
Or porcupines.
Also bad idea.
Or any other animals.
Right. Yes.
We want to watch and observe animals from a distance. So you might bring binoculars or a camera if you want to see things closer.
Oh, I love binoculars.
Yeah. And we want to avoid feeding wild animals, no matter how cute they are.
Yes. Okay.
Because we don't want them to become dependent on humans and forget to go get their own food.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So then another way that we can be a friend to nature is to know when we can and can't take plants home.
Oh.
Okay? So there are some times where we probably shouldn't take plants home.
Like if it's poison ivy?
Like if it's poison ivy.
Don't pick the poison ivy. Nope. It's a bad idea.
So what we want to be careful of, in particular, is sometimes it's really tempting to pick a flower.
Yeah, they're so pretty.
They are really pretty, but we want to be careful. So if a flower is in a sensitive or a vulnerable area, or like it's in a state park or a national park, we don't want to pick those flowers. We want to leave them so that everyone can enjoy them and see them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to take the flower away and then nobody else could see it.
That's true.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
And then if it's somebody else's property,
you
don't want to take a flower from somebody else's property.
Yeah, don't pick the neighbor's flowers.
Don't pick the neighbor's flowers or flowers from private gardens or from community gardens. We want to avoid that. And then you said this, we don't want to pick anything that's poisonous.
Right.
Right. So if you don't know what a flower is, you aren't sure, don't pick it.
That sounds like a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. Now there are some times where it's okay to pick flowers.
When?
So if a flower is invasive in your area, it doesn't belong there. That's a good flower to pick because invasive flowers are flowers that are taking over the place where native flowers would grow. So we want those flowers to go away.
Okay.
Okay, because
that makes sense.
Yeah, they might damage the ecosystem so that the flowers that might be native don't grow anymore.
Oh, that would be sad.
Yeah, that would be really sad. It's
my favorite flower around here are the lilacs. They smell so pretty.
I like lilacs.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we can pick is if we're out in nature, picking flowers that are native to our area. That's okay because those flowers are likely going to grow back.
Oh, like lilacs.
Like lilacs. That would be okay.
Yay!
So we need to be careful, right? We want to pick them. If they're on our property and your parents say it's okay, that's fine. But if they're on somebody else's property...
I think I'm eating my hair.
If they're on somebody else's property, then we don't want to pick those flowers, even if they are native.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then probably the best thing to do is to observe the no trace principle, which is we don't want to make it look like we were there. So if there's just one flower, even if it's a native flower, we don't want to pick that flower because then there won't be any flowers.
Oh.
But if there's 100 flowers in a field,
then we can maybe pick a couple.
We could probably pick a couple and be okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I want to talk about how do we protect nature? How do we protect trees and nests and those kind of things? Do you know how to do that?
Well, don't take nests out of trees.
That's a really good way to do it. Yeah. So we want to protect the surroundings, our natural surroundings. We don't want to damage those things. Some nests birds come back to year after year, and if you take them out of a tree, then the bird has to start all over again.
Oh, that would be sad.
Yeah. So another thing that we could do is we want to reduce our what's called ecological footprint. That's a really big word.
That is a big word.
But what it means is we want to recycle. So we want to place less demands on nature.
Okay.
So ecological footprint also means we want to reduce what we use.
Okay.
We want to reuse what we use.
All right.
And we want to recycle what we can't reuse.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes good sense, and that's going to help keep our planet healthy for as long as we can.
Yay!
All right. Let's see. The other thing that we can do is we want to make sure that we do set time aside to connect with nature and to pay attention to the beautiful surroundings that God has given us.
Oh, like going on a hike?
Yeah, like going on a hike or a nature walk.
Yay!
Yeah, I think that sounds like a really good start to knowing and learning how to protect the natural world that God has given us.
That sounds good.
I think so too.
I think it's important to protect our nature around us.
Well, what do you think? Shall we go see if we can find a good place to do a nature walk?
Yes! And collect all the stuff for our, what did you call it?
For collage.
Collage.
For our collage.
Louie, let's go on a nature walk and collect items for our collage. It's going to be so much fun! I can't wait.
All right. Bye, guys. We'll see you later.